So I'm Léo Chiola, a multimedia artist working in comics and video games, and this is the True North Country Comics podcast.
Welcome to the True North Country Comics podcast, dedicated to promote Canadian comic book and graphic novel creators and supporters. I'm John Swinimer. On this episode, I chat with Léo Chiola about his various art projects in preparation of Toronto Comicon 2025. Please like and subscribe to this website by hitting the subscribe button so you'll be notified about new podcast interviews and article posts. This podcast is available wherever podcasts are enjoyed. Please like, follow, and subscribe. Léo Chiola is a French comic book artist, concept artist, and illustrator living in Montreal, Quebec. As a self-taught artist, he's also the winner of the Mad Cave Studios Talent Search 2023. Léo began his career in 2016 as a freelance comic artist on Garde Républicain, published by Hexagon Comics, and as a 2D artist for the video games Eredan and Mutants Genetic Gladiators. In 2017, he joined the animation studio Boulder Media, owned by Hasbro, to work as a character designer on the animated TV show Transformers Cyberverse. In August 2019, he settled in Canada, where he worked for more than 3 years as a concept and comic artist for Digital Dimension Entertainment Group, developing the art of brand new animated TV series such as Chase and Catch, Aiko and the Masters of Time, and Spellcasters MLM. Léo is now a full-time storyboard artist at Gearbox, that makes Borderlands and Duke Nukem, and has also recently worked as a freelance illustrator for the game Fortnite and as a cover artist for Massive Publishing. So, without further ado, here's my chat with Léo Chiola about his various art projects in preparation of Toronto Comicon 2025. Léo Chiola, thank you very much for taking time to chat with me.
Thanks for having me.
I appreciate your time. Before I get going with all the questions, I would like to know, what was the first comic book that you read?
So if I talk about like American comic book, I would say Spider-Man. It was, I can't remember the number, which issue was it, but I think it was by Joe Quesada, if I'm not wrong. I just remember the visual, not the number, but it's really the first comic that really strikes me at the time, because I'm from France, so in Europe we have different comics, and I was aware of Tintin, Corto Maltese, or Blake and Mortimer, that kind of comics. But I wasn't really into it because you have a lot of dialogue and stuff like that. But Spider-Man was the first one that really struck me.
Very good. Yeah, I hear from a lot of people that Tintin Asterix are really like the very first ones that they see, and then they move on, which is good. So yeah. With that in mind, I'm wondering who or what inspires you to create today?
So I think many different things. First, again, comics. I think my true first love, again, Spider-Man, and getting interested in the artist. At the beginning, I just checked the comics, and you don't really realize that there are specific artists working on it. But after a while, I realized that they were like specific artists like Humberto Ramos or Joe Madureira are really I think the biggest influence on me that make me want to pursue actually comics and illustration. And also at the time I was really into, and still am, in video games. So like company like Blizzard, manga also, like Naruto when it was out in France. Those kind of stuff really pushed me to pursue a career.
Good. Lots of good influences there, that's for sure. Now, I was reading up on you, and it says that you're now based in Montreal. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about the creator scene there.
So it's a bit different for me because I'm not very much interacting from the creative. More as I'm working in video game company in Montreal directly, I'm more surrounded by people from the video game industry, mostly many artists in the video game industry. So that's more the people I'm seeing there, and there are many great artists. Comics people, I'm not around a lot of them. I know they are good artists. I knew Marguerite Sauvage. I don't know if you
yes,
know her. So that was kind of the only one that I met through someone from video games, actually. But other than that, it's mostly video game artists. But Montreal has a lot of great artists. It's just that I don't take the time much to hang out with people. I know I have one of my friends doing every week like a drink and draw in Montreal. I think it's in downtown Montreal. But there are many events like that, like drink and draw. How do you call it? Gesture drawing. The when people draw nude people or stuff like that. Many stuff.
Yeah,
Many
lots of
stuff
good
like that.
creators there for sure. And I'm sure you'll have the opportunity to meet up with them. In fact, maybe some will even be at the Toronto Comicon that's coming up. That's for
Uh,
sure.
Definitely, I met last year because Casey actually that made me more introduced to the Comic Con scene a bit, and it was really a good surprise to meet people like that. I'm
I can
starting more and more to know comic book people, and it's really fun. Really nice people.
Good. Now, I probably jumped the gun and I started talking about your bio, and you are a multimedia artist. So maybe for those not familiar with you, perhaps you can give just a brief overview of your background because it's very impressive.
Thank you first. And when you say multimedia artist, you mean in the domain I'm working or the tool I'm using for you mean the that I'm working in video games, animation, stuff like that?
Yeah, the fact that you're working in so many different mediums, I think, is just tremendous. You can take like your tool set and your experience from one vertical and move it over to another just as easily. So I wonder if you could talk a bit about what you're doing right now.
So right now I'm storyboarding for Gearbox software. They're known for Borderlands, Duke Nukem, Band of Brothers, stuff like that. It's very fun. I love video games. If I have to be totally honest, I'm in video games because it pay much more and it's less work than comics. My dream is still it is doing comics, but with the current situation, it's much more difficult to do great art in comics and being well paid too. But video games doesn't have this problem, so you can be creative in video games and being well paid at the same time, which is very nice to not having that problem of creating and earning money at the same time. But before I work in animation, I work on Transformers. I work in Dublin for like almost 2 years and work on a Transformers TV show as a character designer. And basically, I got this job because I went to an animation festival to show my portfolio, and I was lucky enough that it was the right timing. They were looking for someone that doing what I was doing, and I like to jump around a bit. That's why I like comic book. It's because comic book artists, you're supposed to know how to draw everything: background, character, color, and I like to jump around, being learn more skills and being better at each one. So that's why I jump around a bit.
That's good. It keeps you on your toes and keeps you interested, and you don't get pigeonholed into one thing. I guess that's good. That's good.
Exactly, yeah.
Now, did I read that you're also working on a Marvel project too?
Yeah, so right now I'm full-time storyboarding, but on my time when I'm after our time, I'm freelancing as a comic artist and illustrator. So I work for Marvel Snap right now. I'm working for the game Marvel Snap. And recently I started working with Marvel Rivals, but it's very recent. That's the Marvel project I'm working on right now.
That's the hot thing right now, from what I hear.
It is a dream job, to be honest. Like, I don't say it. I mean, but I would do it for free, to be honest. But it's great.
Very rewarding, that's for sure.
It is.
So I mentioned you're going to be at Toronto Comic Con as exhibitor. Can you talk a little bit about what you'll have on your table for attendees to purchase when they come by?
So mostly at my table, my agent was supposed to come here, and I think she's not gonna be able. But I will have mostly my original art and maybe some prints. I'm working on some prints, so it's gonna be mostly that. I did some couple of cover on comics here and there, but I didn't have the opportunity to bring them here. But yeah, mostly original art and commission.
Very good. What is it about conventions that you like the most?
So I'm still new to convention. I've done a couple of them as a visitor. I did only one in France as a guest. But what I like is mostly checking the artists, seeing the original art of the other artists is really it's the best. I remember I went to the New York Comic Con 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago I think, and I was really amazed to see. I could finally see some Joe Madureira original art or Olivier Coipel, and talking with those, seeing them drawing or just checking the original art for me, I love it. And meeting passionate artists is it's rare. Even in video games, it's rare to meet people that are really, really passionate by art. But in coming convention, you really find those people. So that's what I prefer, I think.
Yeah, that's a great experience to have, I tell you, when you go by and you sort of see your heroes doing work and you can interact with them, I think is the best part too. That's really
Oh
cool.
yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah.
Now, this is probably a loaded question, and you could probably spend all day on this telling me, but can you talk a little bit about the tools used to create your art? I'm sure there's so many, but perhaps you could walk me through just a couple of them.
So I use mostly the main one I'm using is ink, is pen and ink, like classic. I'm using the Micron. That's kind of the standard. I mean, another brand name, Unipine, I think it's something like that. But it's classic pen, sometimes brush too. I'm using also a lot of marker, alcohol marker for the color. I do very rarely, but I know how to do a bit of watercolor or gouache, but I don't use them much because I don't like crafting my own color for some reason. I mean, I'm a bit lazy when I'm cleaning the brush and stuff like that. And also I'm using a lot of digital, I'm using a Cintiq graphic tablet. And usually what I'm doing for work, like for the Marvel Snap, for example, my process would be I would do the sketch digitally. So I can do it faster. I can tweak things easily. And once it's approved, I would print the sketch and then do a pencil over it and then ink it and then scan it again and do the color digitally. So it's a mixed, I mix digital and traditional too.
That's very intriguing because you're going backwards. Not to say that it's a backwards effort, but you're working from the end. Typically, people go the other way. So that's quite unique process that you have there.
Yeah, I've seen other comic artists using it, especially for time-consuming reason. It's good. You feel more comfortable trying stuff because you know it's digital, so you can go back. So for the beginning, I feel it's really, really comfortable working like that.
Good. I know that there's a lot of stuff you're working on that you can't talk about because it's under NDA and it hasn't been announced. But is there anything you can talk about? What will be your next project?
And keep doing Marvel Snap and storyboarding for Gearbox. That's about it.
That's a lot. I would say a lot of people would be jumping for joy for that. So that's pretty exciting stuff. So for everything that you have on the go today and all your future plans, where do you recommend that people go online to find out more about you?
So it's pretty easy. They can type my name on Google. I think I have the Instagram. It's my name. Twitter. It's my name. I have also a portfolio website that I'm using mostly for really professional to show to company and stuff like that. But it's all my name, so it's pretty easy to find.
Thanks to Leo for the chat. You can discover more about Leo online at leochiola.myportfolio.com and on Blue Sky. And thank you for tuning in to the True North Country Comics podcast. I invite you to visit the True North Country Comics website to listen to even more conversations and discover more about creators' insight on making comic books and graphic novels. I also invite you to subscribe via the website so you'll be notified about new podcast interviews and article posts. This podcast is available wherever podcasts are enjoyed. Please like, follow, and subscribe. You can follow True North Country Comics on most social media sites, and you're encouraged to send any and all feedback to John at truenorthcountrycomics.com. Thanks for tuning in, and come back soon for another episode. Bye for now. True North Country Comics Podcast is copyright True North Country Comics, copyright 2025.